Creative Babble.
Uh-oh. The last cookie.
You can get a new box of cookies in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Are you my guilty self-conscience?
No, I'm the voice offering you promo code EXPRESS for free delivery on your first order.
Hey, who ate my cookies?
You mean, these cookies?
Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Promotion valid for first express delivery order. $50 minimum subject to availability. Restrictions apply.
I used to work at a golf course. I was the bartender and the beer cart girl.
You were working as a bartender when you were 18 or 16 or something like that?
16. So you could technically serve alcohol on the golf course because it's not a bar.
And that's like legal?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Meet Lindsay. That's not her real name, by the way. She is one of the many women who have flooded my inbox with her experience living with a narcissist. I wasn't planning on producing this episode, but after talking with Lindsay, I just couldn't stop thinking about her story. Warning, this episode contains details about physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. So, if that's triggering for you, just skip this one. But her story is a cautionary tale for anyone entering a relationship and how to spot the warning signs.
I was 16, started there. He was a regular. I would bartend every summer. And he was in a golf league. He's 8 years older than me. So like, if you just like me looking back now, that's disgusting. He kept in contact, like, you know, like Facebook was the only thing we had back then. And when I graduated college, I still worked part-time there. He reached out when I was 23. He saw that I broke up with my boyfriend at the time. And he said, hey, let's reconnect. And all I could remember was like, oh, he was a fun guy. Like he was really fun and he was really outgoing. He could work a room. He still can work a room. And charming and, you know, all of that. So I went on a date with him. The first like 5 dates were terrible. And then he pleaded and pleaded and pleaded to go out on another date with me. We went and then I just ended up 4 months later pregnant. 4 months dating him.
Were those 4 months, how would you describe them? Were they good or?
Looking back on it, it looks like he was trying to win me over. So he would brag about his job. He talked about how much money his family had, which is interesting to me because his family doesn't have a lot of money. I remember when I took the test, I told him I never wanted kids. Growing up, I never wanted to be a mom. That was never in my plan. I always wanted to be the fun aunt. I wanted to travel, never wanted kids, never wanted to get married, which should have been a red flag initially, like going against my life plan. I told him I was getting an abortion. I actually lived across the street from, it's called Options. And I went in to go see my options. I knew I didn't know this guy really. And then he walks into the appointment. He knew I was at it. He charmed the nurse, walked into the appointment and said, we're not getting an abortion. I love her. She's my soulmate. And just that's when the love bombing went from like middle love bombing to like over the top. He made me believe that he's going to take care of me. Even if we don't get married, he'll take care of the kid. And he does believe he's my soulmate and all that started.
I mean, that scene that you described it seems like something out of like a rom-com type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, is that the way I'm envisioning? It's like he comes in at the last minute and like, it just sounds so unreal that the nursing staff.
He shows up to like the clinic, right? Like he shows up. So I'm like, okay, he's invested in it. He, you know, charmed the nurse to go in, which like now
saying
it's
I'm
like,
the father or whatever. Like, was
yeah, that's my girlfriend.
So he walks in, he walks his way into the room, and is he telling you that
He told the nurse. He said, she was a medical assistant, sorry. I had the internal exam just finished. So the internal ended. I see that I'm pregnant. She's going over my options. So, you know, abortion, adoption. And as she's going over that counseling with me, she's explaining every procedure that they could do, adoption, everything. That's when he walked in. And he was like, oh no, we don't need to go over options. We're keeping the baby. We just wanted to confirm that it's there.
But what was your reaction at that point?
I was completely shocked. I just remember I was quiet. I ended up fawning. Like I just went to like, what is going on? And then we sat in his car afterwards and he said to me, it's okay. I have a lot of money. Well, I remember this conversation. I remember this conversation more than I remember in the clinic. Because he said, I have a lot of money. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of the baby, even if we don't get married, because he knew I never wanted to get married. I said that a bunch.
I'm Javier Leiva, and this is Pretend. Stories about real people pretending to be someone else.
This episode is brought to you by the Nissan Armada Pro 4X. With a twin-turbo V6 engine ready to propel your adventures, up to 8,500 pounds of towing capacity to haul all your favorite toys and space for 8 passengers, Nissan's most powerful car yet will chew up and spit out anything you throw at it. Learn more about the all-new 2025 Nissan Armada at nissanusa.com. Towing capacity varies by configuration. See Nissan Towing Guide and Owner's Manual for additional information. Always secure cargo.
When you were at the clinic, I mean, the age difference definitely plays a role because you're how old at this point?
I was 23.
Yeah, you're 23 and he's 8 years older than you. Did it almost seem like a parental figure like coming in and stopping something? Or like, did the nurse ever look back at you or the doctor or whoever? Did they ever look back?
No, he looks like he's younger than he is. Like at that time, he had a really young face.
Yeah, but did anybody ever look back at you and ask you, are you okay with this? Is this what you want to do? No?
No. He has a way of talking to people that he can win anyone over, especially women. Get him in a setting with a group of women, they all love him.
And you can't beat yourself up for that decision, right? Because like if you now were in that clinic, you would probably react differently, right?
No, I've gone through a lot of therapy.
Yeah. But, you know, after that, he's in the car telling you, hey, don't worry, I got you. And you're overwhelmed with these feelings. And you're like, well, maybe this is a good thing. Or like, what were you thinking? Like, did he convince you that this was a good decision? Or were you still kind of fighting it?
So looking back on it, my background is I grew up in a very Irish Catholic household. And the fear of God was always held, you know. I went to Catholic school my whole life. I even went to Catholic college. And that fear of God was always there. So like doing that right thing. So at that time when I was 23, that just came over me. Like, okay, you got to do the steps that you have to do. So my mindset was that I'll have the baby, you know, we'll try to work it out. And if, you know, he's not the love of my life, maybe there's a friendship there that I could just live with this guy, be married to him, and have a kid with him and just make it work. There wasn't really like in my head a red flag. It was like, okay, I just kind of have to suck it up and do it.
Yeah. And I'm sure even without him walking in to that, you were having your own reservations, right? Because like that's a very conflicting thing, you know. Nobody ever wants to be in that position. But,
and it was
you know,
kind of like he made that choice for me. So then I didn't have to make any hard decisions.
Yeah.
Like his mind was made up. So maybe it was kind of a parental figure being like, nope, this is what we're going to do. And the plan was there. And I just have to go along with it. I really have never really reflected on that. But
now let's kind of walk into this love bombing because he's promising you that he's going to take care of you and all that. But did it get more intense, the love bombing? Because I know that that's part of the process, right?
Oh, yeah. So when I got pregnant, I was living with a girl. So I had a roommate. She was a friend of mine. My lease was almost up. So he already took it upon himself to find a place to live for us. So we already had it lined up at a friend's house. This is so weird. So he had a friend who owned a home, but he was subletting his home. So I moved into this like bachelor pad basically. And I was pregnant the whole time. And during that, he was promising me that we're going to find a house to live together. He was going to buy a house. He wanted one anyway in this town that we lived in. So like love bombing, it was every morning I would have breakfast and coffee waiting for me before I went to work. He would cook dinner every night. He would like run baths for me, which if you knew this man, how he treated me, he would have a bath waiting for me when I got home from work. Like the love bombing was why we would go out to these dinners, these meals that he would just pay for or knew someone, or it was always this like fancy thing. Like everything was always over the top.
Like these grand gestures, right?
Oh, and they got more and more grand. So we looked for houses. His cousin was a real estate agent. Think of this. I'm 24. I'm so young. Buying a house at that age is like that beyond. When we go to the closing, I'm 9 months pregnant. We go to the closing at his cousin's real estate company. A lot of back and forth. I wasn't even supposed to be at the closing. It was going to be his house, right? We're not married. We just are going to have a baby together. We're going to live together. He calls me at work and says, you have to come. There's an issue. I'm like, okay, what's going on? His credit is bad. He's talking to me on the phone. He's like, they won't, the bank, da-da-da. He talks in circles. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? He said, I just need you to come down and do all the signatures. So I show up and it's me and his dad is there. It's me, his dad, his cousin, the title company, and him. I'm like, why is your dad here? He's like, you just have to, the house is going to be under your name. My dad's going to co-sign. They're like, there's no connection between your dad and her. The only way to do this is you have to get married. So we pushed the closing. A week later, we're sitting at the same desk in his cousin's place. We, on paper, legally get married. Don't tell anyone. It was silent. And I signed, his dad signed. The house is in my name, which during the divorce saved my ass. My ass. I would have been
And are you
homeless.
still pregnant at this point?
Yeah, I'm 9 months pregnant. Closed at the end of January, moved in. We had no furniture. We just had a mattress on the floor. And, with those stories that everyone says, we lived in a house with a mattress. It seems so romantic. So dumb. We didn't even have a couch or a TV that he promised. And then I had a baby. We had a couch. We had TVs, we had beds, we had a crib, we had all the stuff we needed. And to me, it was like a story. Like it was like I have this like perfect little cookie cutter life with a baby in a house and everything I wanted. I'm married to this man who is wealthy, who's nice and charming and, lovable by everyone. He won my parents over. Everything that you could think of.
Yeah, I was going to say, anybody around you at this point is, like raising their hand like, hey, this might not be good?
Nope, not at this point.
But there's one thing you haven't mentioned, and it's whether you loved him or not. Like even during this period where you have all the right pieces, he does all these romantic gestures. He says he's going to support you. You have this like picture book, wedding type of thing where you live sleeping on a mattress in an empty house, your future so promising or whatever, but you've never mentioned whether you had actual feelings for him.
So this is where I feel as though my whole life I was conditioned for this person because my dad, I never knew what love was from a man. My dad's a narcissist. I have no relationship with him. I realized that the reason I chose this person is because that's why I thought love was. My whole life, I was seeking approval from my dad. And his love is conditional. And so to answer that question, at that time of my life, I didn't know what love was. I thought that love was approval from a man. So I sought that through relationships, and
You were just going through the motions.
this person showed me the comfort of my dad, and I fell for it. So no, I wasn't in love with him, but it was comforting because of how toxic it was.
And that's very retrospective, right? You're like, now
Oh,
it
yeah.
makes sense, right? But at the time, you're not even questioning yourself because everything on
No.
paper looks right.
It's right.
Except the fact that you don't love this guy, you know?
And my dad approved of him. My dad was so happy. So it's like a double whammy.
Yeah. I mean, that's the love bombing chapter, right? I'm sure there's more. Lindsay tells me that it wasn't until they were married and living together that this Disney perfect life started to fade.
It was like, I explain it, it felt like I was on a roller coaster and I didn't know when would be a good day or when would be a really bad day. And every day to day, it was walking on landmines. We actually stayed engaged for a year. We didn't tell anyone we were married on paper for the house. 0 people knew that. We ended up getting married New Year's Eve, but we had the most extravagant wedding, over 300 people. And when I tell you how we paid for this, you're going to lose it.
How did you pay for this?
Number one thing, he always said he would never share his bank account information with me. Red flag, I should have known. He was never going to share his bank account information, but he had access to mine. I wasn't allowed to see his investments, but he had access to mine. Because he was a financial advisor, he was savvy in saving. And I believe that this was his job. He was constantly on the phone, making trades, doing things. He had a client who was a family friend of a friend he's a millionaire, the guy with a private jet. He's local. And so he had all of his investments. To pay for our wedding, I found out after. Our wedding was $50,000. He told me everything was fine when we booked it. He talked this man into making a trade.
So basically, if I understand correctly, he has this millionaire friend and he worked out some sort of scheme so that he could make a trade so that he could make, about $50,000 to $60,000 so he could pay the wedding.
We paid off the wedding, but then we didn't have money for a honeymoon, he would say. So then we would stay at someone's house who he knew, that we'd stay there, but then he would owe that guy something. So it was always something that he owed someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's very Ponzi-like. He's borrowing money.
It's not exactly Ponzi,
yeah,
but
it's not exactly, but he never, it's not his money. He's always like transacting and owing and moving things around. Mm-hmm. But you didn't know the details of this, obviously. But how did you find out about all this?
So I would have to every year I would give him my tax documents. He would say he would do the taxes. I kind of noticed that I didn't do my taxes. And so I asked him. And he's like, yeah, no, I did it. And I said, oh, okay, did you file head of household? And he's like, yeah, I was head of household. So I logged in to see if I could file my taxes, and I just did it quietly, and I got a return. And at that time, I was getting financially abused that I needed cash. I would have to give this guy a blowjob to get money for groceries. It was so fucking gross the way he used.
He got that bad?
Oh, that bad, yeah. I needed $175 for groceries, and I'd have to he'd be like, what are you going to do for it?
Really?
I felt like a whore. I still have screenshots of the Venmo that he'd be like, for sex, for love, and I would get $2,000. I can send them too, but it was disgusting. That was when I just went into survival mode at that point. I actually got pregnant again at 9 months old. He told me that after I delivered at the 6 weeks when they say you're clear, I really wasn't okay because I had a traumatic delivery. He said that if I didn't give it to him, then he would find it somewhere else. And my duty as a wife was to provide sex to him because he's a sexual being. I believed that. So I did.
It's terrible, right? Like, it's terrible saying it out loud. Like,
It sounds awful. I'm like embarrassed to say it because that's not the type of person who I am now. Like, I'm so strong now. But back then I was so weak.
And you're kind of trapped, right? Like, I try to tell people all the time, like, it's easier to, wouldn't it be a lot easier if you could recognize this type of relationship when you're dating, you know, like, and then save yourself that nightmare? But a lot of people, and I would say most people, don't realize it until they're so deep into it. Now you're pregnant again. And that's when these transactions happen, because he knows that he has you, right? Like his first, I mean, just, I don't know your story, but so far he's manipulated you to get pregnant, basically, right? Or not get pregnant, but to keep the baby, to get married through the house. Then you have a second child, and now you're financially tied, but there's no transparency. And when, you know, most couples, they work together financially and they don't transact sex. Like, sex comes out of romance, right? But you're in it. So
after, I want, like, the day after our huge wedding, we got in a fight. And that was when he got mean. And it was like, the day after was when the abuse got worse. And looking back on it, it's because he thought he owned me. Like, I have you now. You're mine. I get to do whatever I want. And that's when the sexual abuse started. And everyone asks me, why did you have more kids with him? I've had people be like, how? No way. You guys were great. Like, I could show you, I have photos of us looking like a perfect family. But then I have the nastiness. I recorded him. I have voice recordings. I have video recordings of how he treated me, because nobody would believe me. He isolated me. He started to isolate me from my family. So he wanted to keep me from my family. And I never realized that until afterwards, that, like, Christmas was huge for my family. And he would go, we'd show up, but we'd have to leave. Everyone stayed at my mom's house, and I have 4 siblings, right? Everyone stayed at my mom's. We'd have to leave and go home because he wanted to isolate me.
So far, 2 things, right? So love bombing, isolation. Like, even when I've covered cults, this is the same recipe, right? Like, to
me, it wasn't isolation though. Like, during that time, like, I felt really lonely. He's the only thing that I have. He understands me. My family doesn't understand because nobody has little kids, you know, like, it's just, he made me feel like safe enough with him. And he also used to pick me apart. Like, my physical appearance. I was too fat. Are you sure you want to eat that? But he would whisper it in my ear so no one else could hear it. So he had that, like, things in my teeth. He'd be like, you have something in your teeth. And then he'd be like, oh no, they're just really yellow. Like, he would say these really mean things. Like, aren't you going to put makeup on? Are you sure you want to go out without makeup on? To make me feel so insecure that I didn't trust anyone else, because he was telling me the honest truth, right? That's honest. After I had the second baby, my depression was so bad. I had really bad postpartum depression. My second child had a tongue tie, a stage 5. So he cried all the time. He cried the 24 hours a day. And I felt like I was going crazy because this man would show up home from after work and I could smell alcohol. I could hear he was slurring his words. I would ask him. He'd be like, no, I was at work. And I'm like, I swear I can smell beer on your breath. And he's like, no, I wasn't at the bar. He would say that. And then he'd be like, are you okay? And I went to the doctor because he made me believe I was crazy. And I saw a therapist and I got prescribed Zoloft. And I cried to them and I said, I don't feel okay. Something is wrong. You know what was wrong? Was him. I wasn't crazy. He was making me feel crazy.
Yeah, that's gaslighting. I mean, by definition.
By definitely, yeah. He would throw away my Zoloft and say, have a great week. And I'd have to beg on the phone, thinking like he would throw it out the window. He'd be mad at me. He tossed it out the window once and he's like, yeah, you want to feel so good. And he opened my Zoloft and he dumped it out the window. He's like, I can't wait to see how you feel now. And he was like so mean with my 2 boys in the back of the car. I was like,
It's hard to believe that we're talking about the same person, right? Like from the beginning of the story. So did it ever get violent?
Yeah.
Or physical?
Yeah. First time he would, my therapist uses a word, like he would push my buttons to the point that I would snap. But it would be like a slow, progressive push.
So that you're the instigator, basically.
Mm-hmm. I was he would be like, you're so violent, and like say stuff like this. So I can think of 5 times, but I'm trying to think of the earliest one. I was holding a baby. I don't know which one it was, but I remember I was a newborn and he threw car keys at me and it hit me in the face and it fell and it hit the baby, like not hard, but it hit me. But that anxiety of my baby almost got hurt was, that one I don't really have a strong memory with, but that was a very beginning violent thing. And it was my fault because I got him angry. The first time he really hurt me was Christmas Eve. I had to use my paycheck to be Santa, and I had the 2 boys. We had 2 kids at the time. And it was Christmas Eve. He had been drinking. I took all the Santa gifts out. I don't know if he was like jealous or because he wasn't the one who bought the gifts to be so thoughtful, but I got like really nice gifts for my kids. Like, I'm Santa. I had to use my money. I went out shopping to Toys R Us when Toys R Us was still a thing, in person, Black Friday, to get really good deals. I had to use my paycheck.
It was a stretch, yeah.
And my mom makes these Santa sacks so we don't have to wrap gifts. And so I was putting them in Santa sacks. He was wrapping some gifts and he got so mad that he stood up and he ripped the Santa sack. And I'm like, my mom made that. Like, that is awful. And he took whatever was in his hand and he threw it at me. And I was so upset and I was screaming at him. So then he threw something else at me. I'm screaming at him and then he sits on the couch. And I just remember he looked at me and his eyes were completely different. They were black and he ripped it. And I go, I could punch you in the face right now. And he was like, do it. I want you to. I was like, honestly? He's like, yeah, do it. And I punched him in the face. Felt so good. And he took his thumb and he put it right in my eye socket. And I have a photo. I thought he was going to pop my eye out of my head. That was the first time he was like real bad. It was terrible. And that morning, Christmas morning, we had to be a happy little family. Open gifts with the 2 boys. Merry Christmas. And I had to be mom. And I wore black eyeliner so that no one could see the bruises. And I went over to my parents' house, went to his parents' house. And we were like the perfect family. Like, he would rub his cheek and be like, oh, my jaw hurts during that day. And I'm like, what the fuck? Sorry.
It was terrible.
But the worst one was like September 2019. That was like the worst one.
What happened then?
I was 9 months pregnant with my 3rd child. And it was September. I was due in October. It was a Saturday morning. He was cleaning up from breakfast with 2 kids. You know, it's messy. And I was tired. And I said I would do the dishes later. And he spun out. And at this time, I started recording things quietly. I actually had 3 hidden cameras in my house.
But at this point, does he know that he was being recorded?
did know at that point, yes, because he found a camera and he took it down to the river and he threw it in the river. But he didn't know that one was uploaded to the cloud.
Yeah.
My other ones weren't, but I had one.
But
that one.
But none of this was introduced in court, I guess, because it was.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
When I initially filed for divorce, I filed under terms of abuse, and I had to change it because I had no proof.
That sucks.
Legally no proof. I had proof. My lawyer and his lawyer said to me, we just can't do it.
Yeah, I know, that sucks. There are a couple recordings that I'm going to play for you because her husband was fully aware that he was being recorded. We'll play it after the break.
Sergeant and Mr. Smith, you're gonna love this house.
Bunk beds in a closet?
There's no field manual for finding the right home. But when you do, USAA Homeowners Insurance can help protect it the right way. Restrictions apply.
Springfest at Lowe's means can't miss savings for your home and lawn. Right now, buy 3 bags, get 3 free on Miracle-Gro 3/4 cubic foot all-purpose garden soil. Plus, buy 2, get 1 free on select exterior paint and stain via mail-in rebate. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 4/16, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. While supplies last, selection varies by location. See rebate form for complete list of eligible products. Offer excludes clearance and mistints and can't be combined with any other offer, promotion, discount, or coupon.
I'm pregnant. I'm 9 months pregnant. I'm due October. And this was September 16th. And that morning he snapped. He started to throw things. He started screaming. Just if you think of just rage, it was just rage. I'm trying to peace keep because the 2 boys. Yeah, I felt like nobody believed me. Or would believe me because I wasn't telling anyone. How is someone going to believe me? We're so perfect on the outside. And he snapped and he actually walked out to throw something in the trash and I locked the door, which looking back on it, I think that instigated him a little bit more to get more rageful, but I felt like I had to protect him and I protect my kids and me. I locked him out and he broke the French door trying to come in. And I was like, can you just show me that you're calm before I let you in? Because then at that time, I've already been through some physical things that I'm I know what he's capable of. He tried to smother me with a pillow once. I woke up with him smothering me and then he said it was a joke before this. So it's I've been through these kind of crazy things. And he showed me he was calm. I opened the door and then I was like, I'm going to record you. And I said it. And I have him trying to punch me. Watch out.
Watch out.
You need to not break anything or throw things and act crazy.
You're a fucking psycho.
I am?
Yeah, you're a crazy woman.
No, you just broke our...
Get out of my face. You're crazy.
Do not hit me. That's when I knew something bad was going to happen. I could see, it's his face changed, his eyes changed. It's this look that I used to get. I'm like, oh shit, it's going to happen.
Stop videoing me.
No, because I don't know what you're going to do. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. And I took my boys and I squatted down and I shoved the boys into my chest. And he choked me and I passed out holding the kids for a minute. That was when I thought I was going to die.
And with the kids right there.
The boys. My kids now. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
I haven't really said it out loud. I've said it to my therapist, but this one was so bad. He left right after that. He just drove. He knew he probably did something wrong and he drove away. And 6 months ago, my 7-year-old said to me, he goes, remember when Daddy took the necklace off your neck? And I was like, what do you mean, buddy? And he said, we were over there. I remember when you were fighting over the necklace and he took it off your neck? And his little brain has saved him. I'm so thankful for the imagination that he had.
That's what he thought it was.
And he actually doesn't know what happened. Ugh. Yeah, I just remember, for a second, I just remember being I have to be alive for the kids. That thought was flashed through and he stopped himself.
I've seen the photo that Lindsay took right after she said he choked her, and you can clearly see handprints around her neck.
The next day, he had a surprise for me. It maybe was the next day or the day after, but he had a surprise for me that he got a babysitter. His parents were going to take the boys, and he has a surprise, and I thought we were going out to dinner, and he tells me on the way to dinner that there's a private jet because I've been craving New York cheesecake, that we're going to take a private jet down with a couple of his colleagues and go to dinner so I can get my cheesecake.
It's crazy. You go on this trip, and I know this is the end, right? Like, this is the end of the relationship, but you still decide to go.
After he strangled me, in my head, I said, I'm leaving him, because I always bargained with myself that if, he can hurt me all he wants as long as he doesn't hurt the kids.
Mm-hmm.
After that one, October, I said I want a divorce. And he goes, oh, you're not going to divorce me. He goes, I'll liquidate all the funds and I'll burn all the cash. Like he's like, what are you going to do? Live with your mom? Like, he would be like, you're going to be homeless. He would threaten me like that.
And that's the most dangerous part of the relationship, is when you try to end it and it could go really south. How were you able, I know you kept the house, but did you leave? Like, what happened?
I didn't. So that was October, then we had the baby. And then he gave me this beautiful diamond, 5-diamond ring, beautiful, as a push present. And, right, so private jet, then I get like this $30,000 ring, gorgeous, loved it. And he was Mr. Perfect. He said he was going to be sober. He blamed it on alcohol.
I'm going to play you audio of an argument that occurred towards the end of their relationship.
You were trying to get me mad.
Stop. You cannot blame me. I film because you don't believe me. You say I make stuff up. So I have to resort to filming.
Okay.
Because
I don't want that.
You lie. And then I see you lying.
I understand what you're saying. And I agree with a lot of what you just said. But the flip side of it is, you have so much resentment towards me that you can't get past. I'm nervous to be around you because I think that every move that I make, you're going to try to dangle over my head and you're going to try to take my kids away.
I tell you this, I will not take your kids away.
Supervised visits? You honestly think that I need supervised visits with my kids?
You're nasty.
I'm not nasty. Yes, I have a tendency
You get
to yell.
nasty. You get...
Like, this is
Look at this. You're getting mad right now.
I feel very threatened by you. I feel very scared of what you can do to me.
Because this is the shit that you've put me through.
Because of... Yeah, I put you... But
went from physically abusing me to emotionally abusing me.
In this next clip, Lindsay gets him to admit that he used violence against her.
Let's just be honest. You say I physically abused you. How about you in the last 2 years? I don't think I've laid a finger on you in 2.5 years, which is not good. I should have never laid a hand on you. But in the last 2.5 years, you've hit me multiple times. Multiple times in the face. You've slapped me. You've punched me. You've done multiple things physically to me that I haven't retaliated to. And not that I should retaliate, but you can't sit here and say that I'm the only one that has been physically abusive or a little bit emotionally abusive. You... A little bit? Okay, whatever, doesn't matter. A ton bit. But you honestly wear me down too. You wear me down by constantly telling me I'm a drunk, by telling me I'm a bad dad, by telling me I'm this, constantly telling me I need help. There's something wrong with you.
How do I know if you're cheating on me or not? You say I always get caught in the lie.
How sexual am I with you all the time? Like, I always want to be with you.
That's another thing. I say no to sex and you make me bend over. It's literally I get raped on a daily fucking basis.
Okay.
I had wine and I was asleep. I woke up and you're banging me.
That's not true.
That was fucking rape. You fucking raped me.
I did not rape you. You turned around.
I didn't.
There's a difference between you not remembering.
I didn't consent to that at all. And I woke up and I was like, get off me.
That's not true. I wasn't on you. You rolled over. You're now lying. I apologize if that was the case. I did not read it that to be the case. I thought you were drunk, yes, and I was like, oh, we're going to have a little sloppy sex. I did not read it that I was raping you. And if that is how you felt, first of all, would never want to do that and make you feel that way, and I never meant to do that. That is not my intention. I didn't want to make you feel yucky. I just wanted to have sex with my wife when she was drunk. And I will tell you right now, I apologize if you felt that I did something inappropriate.
For the shit that you do, you call me fat constantly. Like, it doesn't hurt me anymore. You say that I'm depressed? Yeah, I know I'm depressed. What else do you want to tell me? I know I gained weight. I had 3 fucking kids. Your body didn't go through any fucking changes. Yeah, I've gained a little weight. You're gonna put that in my face like it's a fucking issue? So this is why I have to have cameras, because you gaslight me every minute of every day.
Okay, I will not live like that.
Just stop gaslighting me.
I will not live my life with my wife filming me.
Lindsay said that the final straw was one night after he returned from a night of drinking.
And he came back and he was drunk. And so he drove my kids drunk. And he walked out, White Claws were his drink of choice. And he had a pounder White Claw, so like the big ones. And he was getting the boys out of the car. So not only was he drunk driving,
He was drinking and driving.
he was drinking and driving. And that put my kids at harm. I was like, I'm out. Like in my head, I'm like, I have to leave this person. That night, he pushed my then 6-year-old down the stairs, and I called the cops.
He went out?
He was doing bedtime. My oldest at the time, he was 6 or 7. He pushed him down the stairs because he was crying.
Holy shit.
And so they were walking up the stairs to go to bed, and he pushed him. And he went flying down the stairs, and I called 911. I called the cops. He hurt a kid. I'm out. Like, this is what I bargained with. He can hurt me all he wants. I can take it. You put your finger on my kid. You hurt my kid. I'm out. I called the cops. The cop came, took a statement from me, a statement from my 6-year-old, drove down to his parents' house, which is 2 minutes away. He knew the fucking cop. He knew him. And so when they did the write-up, which is like, you're supposed to be there to save me, the police, right? I could have used that in court. I could have got full custody. He did like this blanketed police statement that was like nothing to do with alcohol, nothing to do with abuse. And so the following day, I went down to pay the $10 fucking to get the police report, and it was bullshit.
I read the report, and the cop does describe Lindsay's complaint. He also noted that the kid didn't need any medical attention, but chalked it up to a big he said, she said thing. He didn't even do a sobriety test. Nothing.
I lost it. Because that was my way. Like, I can get full custody. I can save the kids. I can leave him. This is it. No, he knew the fucking cop.
Did you ever get full custody?
No, 50-50. The divorce was a fucking nightmare.
I want to know how you're doing now. Like, have you even thought about getting in another relationship or...
I am in another relationship.
And how's that going?
He is the sweetest, calmest, patient. He's the father figure to my kids. We actually randomly met when I was going through divorce, and I called my lawyer and I said, am I allowed to date? And she's like, I don't give a shit what you do. She said that on the phone. And she goes, is this guy's, like, was a demise of your relationship? I go, no, I just met him. And she goes, yeah, you can date. And then my next thing was call my therapist. And I said, can I date? And she said, yeah. She goes, let's write down the non-negotiables and you have to stick to them. So we did that. And I'm still with, he knows I don't want to get married again. He's never had kids. He's like the calmest, best person. And then you wonder why he's so calm. Like, I'm like, where do you get your patience? And you meet his parents and you're like, oh. Yeah, you get it.
I mean, and you're smiling. Like, I know people can't see it, but you're smiling.
Yeah,
right?
I know. It's like, I never thought I could heal. I went through a really, really hard 4 years. But I've been with my partner we call each other partners. Like, he's so, like, equal. Everything is equal.
having 50-50 custody made it really hard for Lindsay to start over. She told me that even her partner gets harassed by her ex.
He's seen it. So he was stalked by this person. So my kid's father stalked when we first started dating, he had location services on him. Like he stalked him at his apartment, which it was 2 times over. We have video recordings of him stalking him. Like he went psycho.
One morning, Lindsay's ex-husband had the kids and drove past her house and saw her partner's car in the driveway. That did not go well. And we actually can play you audio of this recording.
And we just happened to drive by when some guy was walking out of the house and got into a Subaru, and he asked me who the guy was. He said, "Daddy, who's that guy walking out of our house and getting into a Subaru and get into the car?" I said, "I don't know." He goes, "Is that Mommy's friend?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "We'll call Mommy and ask her," because she was very concerned on who that was.
You can only contact me about the kids.
You cannot do this.
You can only contact me about the kids or finances.
You're bringing dudes into our house already?
I'm telling you that this is going to be recorded.
You can record it, but your son asked me who the guy was that left our house. And he said, "Why is he there?"
Unfortunately, this is not the conversation that we can have right now. Or
you
ever
are married.
have.
You are still married. You are not allowed to have guys at the house.
Unfortunately, you can only talk to me about the kids or finances.
This went on for 10 minutes.
I will get him when he's
What's the
crying,
conversation that you had with him? And that's probably why he's upset.
All I said was that I don't know. And he said, "Is that man going to live at the house instead of you, Daddy?" And I said, "I don't think so." I said, "That's just Mommy's friend."
So what's the reasoning for you driving by the home?
Because we were going to wave to you because you said
You
you were
are
going
not
along.
allowed
We didn't know
to
that you were
do that.
sleeping with another guy. You can say hi to you. Your son can say hi to you.
You shouldn't have driven by the house. You cannot drive by the home.
I am not stalking you at all. Okay. So I will give him the answers that he deserves. Okay, sounds good. Just wanted to make sure you didn't have anything for me to say.
Do not contact me.
Okay, bye.
Lindsay assures me that she's better now. She wanted you to hear her story in case that it helps someone in her situation find the courage to leave and to get help. She says it took 3 therapists and support from friends, but she's stronger now. She tells me that there is life after being a victim of domestic violence. And she says you could even learn to find happiness again. She's still together with her partner, and honestly, she seems genuinely happy.
I went on a golf date with this guy and I was like I knew, I was like, wow. And I told my partner that the only way I will win is when my kids grow up and they're adults and they choose me to come to. That's winning. They choose you to come to, my partner to come to. That's how I'm going to win this fight. And he has to outlive me.
Yeah.
That's what it is, because I'm winning. I'm winning this fight. And my partner said to me, "My only thing that I will do, you can do anything, I'll just keep you out of jail."
That's it for today's episode. Again, I had no plans on producing 3 episodes on this topic, but the response was overwhelming. It definitely hit a nerve. I promise you the next episode will be on a completely different topic. However, if you do have a story that you would like to share, record it and email it to me at javier@pretendradio.org, and I might even play it on Patreon or Pretend Plus on Apple Podcast. All right, so next time on Pretend, I am going to interview a Ponzi schemer. And he's going to tell me how a guy with no criminal record ended up going to prison for a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme. And there is a surprise twist and callback to an earlier Pretend episode that I did not even see coming. You won't want to miss this one. That's next week on Pretend. This episode was written and produced by me, Javier Leiva, and it was edited by the talented Punit Shenoy with the Podcast Pundits. As always, thank you to the Patreon supporters and Apple Podcast Pretend Plus listeners who financially support this show. I'm telling you, the show could not be done without you. It is greatly appreciated. And for those of you who can't afford to support the show financially, which I totally get, simply tell a friend about the show or leave a review. I know you guys hear podcasters say, drop a review, leave 5 stars. Well, that actually does help people discover the show because these podcast apps tend to recommend shows that get more engagement. If you can't afford to help the show financially, please drop us a review on whatever app you're listening to right now. As always, if you have a story idea, a case that you want me to cover, send me an email at javier@pretendradio.org. And you can also find me on social media at pretendpod. Shoot me a DM. I read them all. All right. Take care. We'll talk next time.
Creative babble.